Thank you, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. As many of you in the room may recall, last year I was here as the acting secretary of the department, and it was actually the first time I had come out of the office, not purposely, but the first time I had actually appeared at a public event and gave remarks anywhere. And remarkably, they still let me come out and give remarks publicly. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. I'd like to acknowledge many of our special guests. First, my partner at the Reginald Carson office building, DCNR Secretary Ellen Ferretti, the Governor's Energy Executive, Deputy Chief of Staff, and my good friend and all-around good guy, Patrick Henderson. I do need my glasses. I thought I could do it without them. WGAL News anchor, Janelle Stelson. I'd also like to recognize all of our partners, and of course the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, and my friends Paul King and David Woodwell for the great work that they do at PEC. So I'd like to recognize. There are a number of people in the audience tonight that are both former and current DEP employees, and I'd like, rather than introduce them all individually, I would like to ask them all to stand. Former and current DEP employees, please stand for a moment. See, so I wasn't really worried about getting applause because I stacked the audience well before this evening's event. Each year, the Department of Environmental Protection and the Pennsylvania Environmental Council partner to acknowledge the efforts of organizations around the state for their environmental achievements. This year, we received numerous applications from a variety of different organizations. Any Pennsylvania business, school, government agency, trade organization, nonprofit organization, or agribusiness that has completed projects to promote environmental stewardship and economic development was eligible to apply for the awards. The applications were evaluated and they were scored for environmental protection, partnership, public service, environmental education, pollution prevention, economic impact, and innovative technology. And I will say once again, this is my second year at the dinner, the award recipients do not disappoint. We have some 19 fantastic projects. Quite frankly, we had more than 19 fantastic applications. It is the best and the brightest of Pennsylvania that we're displaying out in the vestibule here this evening. And I'm very proud to be associated with the men and women who essentially submitted their projects for this award. This year, the team selected 19 different projects from around the state to be formally recognized for their environmental achievements. Organizations like the winners here make realizing our mission at DEP easier through their leadership and environmental stewardship. So congratulations to all of the 2014 Governor's Awards for Environmental Excellence winners. You are truly deserving winners. And now a little bit about the agency and what's happening at DEP. 2014 has already been a busy year. The year is not over. It will continue to be busy. But I'd like to briefly share with you an update of what we're working on right now and some of the highlights of the year for us. As you might know, state agencies recently wrapped up budget hearings before the House and the Senate, and I'm happy to report that DEP's budget picture looks brighter than it has in recent years. Thanks to 3 years of fiscal restraint under Governor Corbett's leadership, we are now able to make some responsible spending increases at the department. Our general fund budget proposal increased by $10 million in the upcoming year. So our general fund budget was $127 million. It's proposed now to be $137 million. This is a significant increase for the department. It will allow us to begin hiring, I always say strategically, like all of you, We need to be responsible with the funds that we receive at the agency, and we will begin hiring strategically around the Commonwealth in the different regional offices where we know that we've got challenges, quite frankly. Some of that is because of the workload, but we've got a great staff that has kept the ship running. They've kept things tight, working together, and I'm excited about what the future holds in terms of future hirings. I thank Governor Corbett for his commitment to the important mission of the department to protect Pennsylvania's air, land, and water from pollution and to provide for the health and safety of its citizens through a cleaner environment. He truly has been a friend to us at the department. When Governor Corbett first entered office, he challenged each state agency to become more open, more efficient, and transparent. It's a charge that I take seriously as the leader of this agency. Shortly after my appointment to DEP, we put together a plan which put people back at the center of our operations. I believe that the best product is a result of many minds and many perspectives coming together. We put together a public participation initiative to empower citizens, local governments, and the regulated community to more actively participate in helping DEP make decisions and shape policies and processes. We've also made it a goal to better understand how the department impacts their lives. Under this administration, voices of Pennsylvania's citizens are being heard more than ever before. We've held an unprecedented number of public hearings, accepting comments from across the state, most recently with our Chapter 78 regulations. Quite frankly, if there's anyone in here that hasn't offered a comment on the Chapter 78 regulations, you are the only people in Pennsylvania that haven't offered. I will tell you that that wasn't the first public hearing or first draft regulation that we had multiple hearings for. We had done that about a month earlier with a different set of regulations altogether, but we felt that it was important, and I feel that it's important, to make sure that Pennsylvanians are heard on these important matters. We recognize that the regulations we pass have intended and unintended consequences. And so we best learn that from all of you, our stakeholders, and that's all of our stakeholders. And so with our Chapter 78 regulations, we held an unprecedented number of hearings, 9 across the Commonwealth. We held hearings in parts of the state that were, quite frankly, so that it made it easier for folks to travel to. We received 22,000 comments. Not surprisingly, there is a consistent theme with a lot of those comments, but we're in the process of responding with a comment response document. We'll respond to all 22,000, but it once again allowed us at DEP, and I've been saying this for the last year, we're going to talk the talk, but we're going to walk the walk. And that is the best example I can give in terms of public participation and making sure that we're hearing everyone that wants to be heard. We've conducted 70 webinars covering a wide range of environmental issues since December of 2011. 6,600 citizens have participated. I've made it a point to encourage open dialogue with our environmental stakeholders. In the last year, they've been given greater access to senior level staff in an effort to improve transparency, education, and concerns. We want and need public input on matters of importance to our citizens. And I believe that in doing so, we're creating a much stronger and ultimately more effective and transparent agency. Since becoming secretary, I've made it a top priority to more closely align with the governor's vision of DEP being a problem-solving agency. I say this all the time. You know, I've been trained as a lawyer. I work with 2,500 people, many of whom have been trained as lawyers, scientists, and engineers. We have all been trained to be problem solvers. And so I've challenged the men and women of our agency to utilize their training, to be problem solvers, to think outside the box, the way many of you have thought outside the box in terms of the projects that you've submitted for awards tonight. We needed to be more innovative and more efficient in our day-to-day operations, having a clear understanding, again, of the unintended and unintended, both the intended and unintended consequences. One of the things I learned as a township supervisor, and you learn it really quickly when you sit on a board like that, you get really quick feedback when you make decisions. You get that feedback the next day at the grocery store, you get it at the gas station, but you hear it unfiltered, whether it's a good decision or a bad decision. And one of the things I learned as a member of the regulated community was that oftentimes it was not the intended consequences of DEP's actions that we wrestled with. It was the unintended consequences of the actions that we wrestled with. Things that drove up our costs and delayed projects and things that we didn't think anybody had really thought through. And whether that's true or not, the reality is today we are a different DEP. We do think through both the intended and unintended consequences, and we do firmly believe that the best public policy is forged when we consider all viewpoints before we move forward with whether it's policy or regulation. Governor Corbett tasked the agency with developing and implementing a policy that resulted in timelier permit decisions. That was something that he heard quite a bit of before he was elected governor in 2010. And so he tasked the agency with fixing this problem. I'm proud to say that we hit the ground running and have taken many steps to improve. One great example, you've probably heard us talk about it repeatedly over the last 6 months, is our permit review process and permit decision guarantee program. By instituting this policy, we've been able to eliminate much of the permit review back and forth of the past, and it's improved permit tracking. The efficiencies have been quickly realized, and after 1 year, 96% of all permits being reviewed are meeting the permit precision or the permit review process timeframes. This is not rocket science. If we are clear with the applicant and the consultant in terms of what we expect to be in the application, and that's delivered to us, our team of experts can move through that permit review far more quickly, far more efficiently, without sacrificing any level of review of the actual permit. And we can issue a decision, not necessarily always the permit, but we'll issue a decision, whether it's 30 days or 60 days, within the set timelines. We've had great success with this. So clarity up front in terms of what our regulated community is looking for speeds up our process, and it allows us to provide folks with the timeliness that that you all want and that I wanted in the regulated community. More than 3/4 of the permits now being issued by DEP are being issued in less than 30 days. Now, so I'd have, if I say this, I have folks that say, well, because you're not reviewing them carefully enough, and that nothing could be further than the truth. It's very difficult when we put our permit reviewers in the position of being sort of like the quasi-consultant. And what we needed to eliminate was that back and forth. And we've done that. And with the help of both the consulting community and our applicants, and being clear up front, we've eliminated that back and forth. And so, and I underscore this, that's why I'm repeating this, we do not sacrifice and will not sacrifice the quality of our review. But it's been a success. The permitting process has been improved through the use of our new permit application consultation tool. That was also done in an effort to open up the agency, to make it easier to navigate. By merely going to our website and clicking on, the acronym is PACT, P-A-C-T, it's the Permit Application Consultation Tool. It will take a prospective applicant through a series of questions, right? And by answering those questions, we can then generate for a potential applicant a list of permits that they will probably need for their project. That's another effort that we've taken to try to educate folks to make sure they understand, again, up front, what it is we're going to need to see in an application and what kinds of permits you're going to need. The online tool was developed to be a valuable resource to potential permit applicants who are considering a new project in Pennsylvania or expanding or relocating an existing operation. In a continued effort to increase efficiency in permitting, improve data integrity, and reduce paper processing and storage, DEP has completed the oil and gas electronic well permitting project known as eWell. UL is the first of many steps towards moving all of our permitting online. So how about that? So we're going to move into the 21st century, and eventually we will be doing what most of the private sector is doing by enabling folks to submit applications to us electronically. One of the real frustrations that we share at the department is that we're often criticized for not being able to produce data when people request it. I would submit that we are not an intelligence gathering agency. Right? We are a regulatory enforcement agency. We collect the data that we need to do our job. If I asked everybody in this room what data you would like DEP to collect, you would all give me a slightly different answer. There is no form of technology that we can pay for that would allow for that kind of flexibility. So we collect the data we need to do our job. We try to collect additional data as the case warrants. And the struggle for us is to also be moving our technology into the 21st century so that we can spit it out fairly quickly when folks ask us for it. We're not quite there yet. We can get the information, but it isn't yet as easy as pushing a button, querying a system, and having it all delivered. It's not for a lack of trying, and as I said, we understand that the public wants information. We want to provide information to the public. We are evolving dramatically as an agency. I am not sure that there is any agency in Pennsylvania that has ever undergone a transformation as significant as the one DEP has been undergoing for the last 4 years. We will get there. We think we're doing a great job. I am confident we're doing a great job, but we are a work in progress. As the oil and gas industry continues to develop, we have to strive to develop with that industry so that we're properly regulating the industry. But the good news is we are doing that. We are on our way. As many of you know, Governor Corbett believes that Pennsylvania's energy resources are a critical component to revitalizing our economy, creating job opportunities, and positioning Pennsylvania in the global marketplace. In fact, he recently created the state's first ever energy plan to demonstrate his commitment to energy resources. The energy plan was developed with support from the U.S. Department of Energy in collaboration with a diverse group of representatives that work every day on producing, using, conserving, and improving our energy resources. Pennsylvania's first statewide energy plan is a working document designed to be flexible to update and to meet tomorrow's energy needs. Core concepts of the plan include abundant, affordable, and domestic energy, enhancing the environment, embracing free markets, and recognizing that energy independence leads to security. Energy equals jobs reflects Governor Corbett's vision and commitment to the position the state as a national leader in both energy production and natural resources, and leverage Pennsylvania's world-class energy industry to create family-sustaining jobs. By promoting our hard work ethic, providing education and training for jobs that match companies' needs and our citizens' strengths, and encouraging the ingenuity inherent in our entrepreneurs, businesses, and research institutions, Pennsylvania proactively prepares citizens for the jobs of today and tomorrow. The facts tell the story of diversity and strength of Pennsylvania's vast energy portfolio. We are home to the second largest energy field in the world, and today we're the fourth largest producer of energy in the United States. We're second in the nation for electricity generation, second in the nation for natural gas production, second in the nation for nuclear generation, fourth in the nation for coal production, ninth in the nation for total solar capacity, 15th in the nation in total wind capacity installed, and 19th in the nation for crude oil production. Under Governor Corbett's leadership, the Department of Environmental Protection has worked to ensure that the development of the state's many natural resources happens in an environmentally and economically responsible and conscious manner. We've done so at DEP by operating openly and transparently, taking strong enforcement action when necessary, engaging with stakeholders to develop solutions to challenges, developing world-class oil and gas regulations, and ensuring that all Pennsylvanians' right to clean air and clean water continue to be protected. In February 2012, Governor Corbett signed the 2012 Oil and Gas Act, which significantly updated Pennsylvania's oil and gas laws to address unconventional well development in the state. The purpose of the law was to ensure the safe and responsible development of oil and gas resources. It included many new environmental safeguards, and it represented the first comprehensive update to the state's Oil and Gas Act in nearly 30 years. DEP has significantly increased our unconventional well site inspections, which are conducted at the most critical junctures in well pad development. In 2010, our program conducted 5,252 inspections. That number doubled to 10,527 inspections in 2011. In 2012, the number of inspections increased again to 12,561 inspections, and we remain constant or consistent in 2014. We've had an unprecedented oversight of the oil and gas industry under this administration, subjecting ourselves to a voluntary independent review of our program to ensure its efficiency, undergoing comprehensive air quality and radiation studies to ensure public safety, and implementing emissions and leak detection and control requirements more stringent than the federal rules. Whether it concerns the natural gas industry or some other regulated community, DEP is committed to addressing air quality issues as well. Perhaps our best kept secret is the tremendous strides that have been made in Pennsylvania to lower our greenhouse gas emissions. In fact, Pennsylvania's gross greenhouse gas emissions are expected to be lower in 2020 than in 2000, with reductions in the residential, commercial, transportation, agriculture, and waste sectors. Since 2008, sulfur oxide emissions have gone down 68%. This administration is dedicated to seeing these trends continue, not only for Pennsylvania, but for the entire nation. For instance, on December 10, 2013, Governor Corbett, at my recommendation, joined 8 other states urging the EPA to examine the expansion of the ozone transport region, to ensure that neighboring states are doing their fair share of protecting the quality of air moving towards our state. Pennsylvania has and continues to do its part. It's time for other neighboring states to join us in this important fight. This administration is putting its money where its mouth is, making significant investments in green technologies. Thanks to Act 13, we've provided $20 million over 3 years for the purchase or retrofit of heavy-duty vehicles to operate on natural gas. In the first grant round, 329 heavy-duty vehicles were purchased or converted to run on natural gas, which will support 16 new refueling stations in Pennsylvania. It's projected that these projects from the first round alone will displace 3.7 million gallons of gasoline each year. In addition, DEP, through the Alternative Fuel Incentive Grant Program, we call it AFIG, provided $3 million for alternative fuel vehicle rebates for Pennsylvania consumers since 2011. In recent years, DEP has reimbursed $5.5 million in solar rebates to homeowners and small businesses. And since 2011, we've provided over 5,300 consumer loans valued at $46.5 million to PA homeowners through our Keystone Help program. Pennsylvania's holistic approach to managing environmental issues is the principal reason for the corresponding decline in greenhouse gas emissions and improved economic outlook. Pennsylvania's carbon dioxide emissions have fallen dramatically, in large part because Pennsylvania has generated more electricity with natural gas. However, other factors, including improved energy efficiency standards, have contributed to the decline in carbon emissions. We continue to be a leader in reducing fugitive methane emissions from the natural gas industry and solid waste landfills. We recognize in the department that we exist to protect the environment. And as that mission is realized, public health and safety are protected as well. You have the commitment of this governor and of this DEP secretary that every day we work extraordinarily hard to uphold our mission, to protect our land, our water, our air resources, and to protect our environment and hence our public from environmental harm. It is a mission that we take very seriously the department. And quite frankly, I'm honored to be working with so many dedicated professionals. And I'd also like to recognize Senator Gene Yaw, who's in the audience tonight. The Senator is the chairman of the Energy and Environmental Resources Committee, has been a good friend to the department, a good friend to the environment, and a good friend to me as Secretary of the agency, and just wanted to recognize him publicly for that support. Thank you, Senator. So.